Hello, BookTube. This is Josh's Canned Food Book Tag. Original tag by Josh at Literary Gladiators. He's well known for these foodie book tags, and I love them. I've done quite a few of them now. They're always a challenge. They always make you think. And this one was a doozy, because I was running around the whole house trying to figure out what books matched his prompts here. So we'll get right to it. Number one, and it's all canned stuff, so, and it says fruit, but in this case canned fruit, which we love around here. A work that makes you think about being in school. Well, let me grab on this side. This is The Life of the Ocean. It's in Our Living World of Nature. And when I was a young fella, I loved books about oceans and oceanography. This was developed by World Book Encyclopedia and produced in cooperation with the United States Department of the Interior, McGraw-Hill Book Company in New York, by N.J. Barrow. And these things just absolutely fascinated me. I love the old illustrations. My own son is very much into this sort of thing now too, so it's always fun to see. There's a lot of science in it. Just fascinating. So that would be Life of the Ocean, Our Living World of Nature. Number two, vegetables, sliced carrots. Your favorite thing to buy is a mass market paperback. I love these Star Trek books. In this case, one of the better ones, Enterprise. The First Adventure by Vonda McIntyre. This is Pocket Books, New York. And it's from 1986. He was the youngest man to captain a starship in Federation history. His crew included an untried first officer and a maverick ship surgeon. In years to come, the voyages of Captain James G. Kirk and the USS Enterprise would become legend. But before their historic 5-year mission began, before the crew meshed into the superb unit that would journey across the galaxy, before the legend took shape, there was the mission that brought them together for the first time. And there they are. So yeah, I love these things. They're of varying quality, but I enjoy them. Soup, a work that is packed with tropes, or a hearty penny. For that, this type of thing is a trope. In this case, I picked The Killmaster, Nick Carter. There was literally hundreds of these. To give you a feel for it. The torn scrap of paper was found in the debris of a plane crash near Spain. When the macabre message was finally deciphered, it turned into a shocker. There wouldn't be a book if it hadn't turned into a shocker. Somebody was going to kill Franco, the powerful ruler of Spain. A professional assassin, codenamed Werewolf, had the job. That's why Spanish intelligence called in Nick Carter. Nick's assignment? Put himself in the assassin's place. Think, plot, move with cunning brutality of a professional killer. A killer stalking an impossible prey. Do what the werewolf would do to slay Franco, but stay one step ahead of him all the time. It's an entire trope. Okay, so number 4, baked beans. A work that has at least 2 legitimate approaches. And I thought about this. I wasn't quite sure how to deal with it, and I finally came up with Dune. My old paperback here is, let's see, Ace Books, New York, from, this is from 1965. So you can approach it as an adventure story. You can approach it as a science fiction adventure story. You can approach it as all those things and an exploration of politics and of religion and messianic religion especially, because in the end that's one of the levels that's most interesting, at least to me. So that'd be Dune by Frank Herbert. So number 5. So when you're hot, what work, which is soda. When you're hot, what work makes you feel cold and refreshed? Even my soda is beer. So for that, I picked Peter Nichols' Voyage to the North Star, a novel. Wonderful novel. Peter Nichols, for years, did a column in Wooden Boat magazine, which is one of my favorite magazines. Here he is right there. In 1932, America is marching headlong into the Depression. Unemployment is rife. Reds are protesting in the city streets. Soup kitchens ladle out small hope, and prohibitionists have watered down the beer. The rich are meanwhile getting richer, and the poor are bitter. And in this boldly conceived novel that crosses the paths of two men from opposite ends of New York's social spectrum. Carl Schenk, an unscrupulous industrial and aspiring big game hunter who's come to bear a striking resemblance to his schoolboy hero Teddy Roosevelt, has amassed a fortune fabulous enough to fashion a world that caters to his whims. Whereas Will Bolden, a seaman down on his luck, has lost his boat, his wife, his job, his reputation. Second chances don't come easily to a man like Bolden, a captain who abandoned his own ship, until Schenk's blind resolve to launch an Arctic safari affords him an opportunity to do what no seasoned seaman would. Casting aside sound judgment and his soul's foreboding, Bolden signs on with the Lodestar, a yacht luxuriously appointed for Schenk's pleasure, but woefully ill-equipped to navigate the icy seas as far as north. Very, very, very good novel. So, Coffee, a handy book. Well, this is a food tag, so I thought I'd get something food-related in here. And this. It's a little yellowed on the side, something about this paper. This is called The Geometry of Pasta, and it's a charming, charming book. It's Quirk Books out of Philadelphia. It's by Kaz Hildebrand and Jacob Kennedy. So it's all about pasta, everything from salt, fat, quantity, cooking pasta, semolina pasta, egg pasta, all the sauces. But when you go through here, all the shapes of pasta are done like this. And when I first saw this, just as a person who loves books, this is an amazing little volume. Beautifully produced. So it has a little thing on the back here, stylishly knowledgeable and witty, an instant classic, Nigella Lawson. A little blurb there. So, so next we go to number 7, Tomato Puree. A great work that uses a lot of description. And for me, this is one of 2 volumes. This is Samuel Eliot Morison. And this is the European Discovery of America, and this one's the Northern Voyages. And description is the point here. So this was Oxford University Press, 1971. And he gets into great detail from everything from navigation equipment. But what he really does here is you see these photographs of various landmarks or places at sea. He really describes the sea routes, the terrain, the islands, everything. Landmarks that the mariners would use. So it's absolutely wonderful work. So that was Tomato Puree. So the next one, number 8, is Tuna. Sorry, Charlie. A work with a familiar adaptation you feel people must read. And for me, that's always going to be Master and Commander. They did the movie with Russell Crowe. This is Patrick O'Brien's great novel, the beginning of a series, which you can see up there. And yeah, absolutely love it. Aubrey and Maturin, great characters, great writing. Let me see here. So, Bread, the most pretentious work that you have read. What did I pick for that? Oh, I struggled with this. I came up with James Joyce's Ulysses, and I know all the stories about the language and the use of language, and I did read it. This is the Bodley Head, London, Sydney, Toronto edition, which is pretentious also, I guess. And this is the 9th impression in 1968. And it is what it is. I didn't hate it, but I didn't think it was the be-all, end-all. Okay. Number 10, Broth. A work you refer to time and time again. So again, trying to keep with the cooking and the food theme, I refer to this thing all the time. And this is the Complete America's Test Kitchen TV show cookbook from 2001 to 2010. Every recipe from 10 years of the hit TV show with product ratings and look behind the scenes. And I've always found, well, this thing gets beat up a little bit in the house here, but I use it for a lot of things. Sometimes for basics that I may forget. Like I'm always double checking how to do hard-boiled eggs. Just making sure I'm not making a mistake. Paella looks good, huh? But it is a very, very handy volume. So we refer to it all the time. Spam, which I don't have any spam in the house. A work of popular fiction you would endlessly encourage people to read. Bernard Cornwell, the Sharp series. There's a TV series with Sean Bean, and I love these things. They're just gritty military fiction set in the Napoleonic Wars. Number 12, Chef Boyardee. A character you feel tries to be someone they are not. And right there, I love Chef Boyardee. So for me, I think of Hermann Hesse, Narcissus and Goldman, one of my favorite novels of all time. In a medieval setting, Narcissus and Goldman tells the story of two men whose characters are diametrically opposite. Goldman, a student at the Maribron cloister, is impressed by the character of Brother Narcissus and confides that he too wishes to become a monk. To his surprise, Narcissus advises him that he is wholly unsuited for the monastic life and will never be able to work out his future until he recaptures his childhood. So, he wanted to be somebody he's not, and it's a great, great, great story. So, number 13, SpaghettiOs. I like them too. I don't have a can of them. An addictive children's book or series you enjoy reading as an adult. And my daughter is reading these now, and that's Rick Riordan, the Percy Jackson books. This one's number 1, Percy Jackson and Olympians, The Lightning Thief, Disney Hyperion Books, New York, and it's 2005. I just knew the hype around these, and once in a while I read YA. Sort of goes with my job. I don't read a lot of it, but I do try to get into it every once in a while. I really, really like this. I thought it was great. Very much enjoyed it. I've read like 2 or 3 of them. Okay, so the next one, number 14, Manwich, a book that does more with its summary than with its content. The Freud Reader, edited by Peter Gay. Not a big fan of Freud. Peter Gay has written tons and tons of great stuff, and he wrote a biography of Freud. He, let's see here, he did, let's see here, Voltaire's Politics, Freud, Jews and Other Germans, Freud for Historians, The Bourgeois Experience, Victoria to Freud. So Peter Gay, W.W. Norton and Company, New York and London, 1989. And as not a big fan of Freud, but realizing how important he is in cultural history, this was a handy book, but to be honest with you, the preface and introduction are more valuable to me than rereading Freud. So, what is your favorite kind of canned food? Kidding. It's not my favorite. I do like them, but some crackers? Sardines? No. My favorite canned food is bread. This is B&M brown bread. You take this, you slide it, you open both ends, slide it out, looks like a Tootsie Roll. You wrap it in aluminum foil. You can slice it first and put butter in between. You wrap it in aluminum foil, pop it in the oven for a while. Or you can not slice it, get it nice and hot, slice it and put cream cheese on it. So it's a New England staple. I've been eating it since I was a little boy. I usually have it with baked beans, but sometimes I have it for breakfast. So it's New England brown bread. So yeah, my favorite canned food. So number 16, canned food drive. Who do you tag? Well, I feel like I've been loading up tags on people lately, and I don't want to put any pressure on anybody. So if you like the tag, go ahead and jump aboard. Also, take a look at some of Josh's other foodie tags. Every once in a while, I like to go back and look at one and then maybe try it. So not just the new ones like this one, which is excellent, but some of the older ones are fun too. And thank you, Josh, and thank you, BookTube.